How are you?
Hold on, my dog is what's the matter with him? What are you doing, buddy? He's got I don't know, he sees ghosts. I don't know. It's
No
tis the season.
problem. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm very
Good.
good.
Good. It's so nice to see you face to face. I know, when you first signed up for testing, we talked and all that good stuff. So I'm so
Yeah.
excited to talk with you and talk about your journey. If you just want to introduce yourself, you can tell a little bit about yourself. I'll kind of I have a couple questions for you, but pretty much I just want you to tell us about your experience with us, how you were feeling when you found us, why you wanted to do the comprehensive testing, and kind of what has happened
Tell you
since
my story.
then. Yes, yes. So
It might take longer than a half an hour. No, I'm just
that's
kidding.
okay.
So I am Connie Nunez D'Onofrio, and I was diagnosed with diabetes in 2018. But prior to that, I had always been told I'm pre-diabetic, I need to do this. So I would bribe my doctor, say, wait, I'll lose weight. I get serious for 2 weeks. I dropped the weight, and then I would be back in zone, but then I fell off the wagon and so on. So in my journey, I've gone to endocrinologists, and actually first I went to my primary, who sent me to an endocrinologist to go further to find out what medications to be put on and so on. And it was basically like a roller coaster. The metformin, type 2 diabetes metformin. And I also got, I had high cholesterol, blah, blah, blah,
Right.
everything that
The
goes.
diabetes cocktail, right? Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And in my process, my thought pattern was conditioned to think, okay, so I have to lose the weight to get rid of the diabetes. That was it. Change my diet,
Right.
eat less,
Right.
cholesterol, cut out all the dairy and this and that. Which you're
Mhm.
on a if you're not, if your mindset, I'm a big believer. If you're, no matter what diet you do or what weight loss do, or I know this is
Right.
more of a detox program, and weight loss is a benefit, but
Right.
if your mindset isn't there, no matter
Right.
what you're not going to succeed.
Right, like
That's
what we talk
one.
about in the master class. Yeah, that really is the core. Yeah.
And then, so in my process since that time, then COVID was in there somewhere, and I
Hmm.
actually buckled down. And since we were in, I started cooking for myself.
Hmm.
You have no choice, blah, blah. And I was losing weight. So I
Hmm.
actually lost some weight, and I kept it off after COVID. I never had COVID when COVID was at its
Right,
max,
right.
but so I was pretty healthy,
Hmm.
but I would walk, and I was, you had to do something, right?
Hmm.
So it was during these process, this time, all these years, that I kept collecting information. And actually, during COVID, I also got myself certified as a vibrational therapist, because I found that, well, I think we all found meditation, going
Yeah,
within, getting
that's
balanced,
awesome.
everything kind of falls into place. And I've always been into the metaphysical, and I've always been around it, and I've always,
Yeah.
I've always been into it, but I've never really had the time to do it.
Hmm.
And I'm a singer. I entertain on the weekends. So my schedule is
Hmm.
goofy. I'm home at 3 o'clock in the morning, and you want to eat. No, I gotta go to bed. But so my schedule is not the norm of like everybody
Uh-huh.
else. So I
Yeah.
have to accommodate
Hectic.
that. But anyway, in my travels of doing becoming a vibrational therapist, getting home, these became tools. And I think everybody should have a set of tools. So it's one thing to have the mindset, but then it's another thing to have the tools that are going to keep you on track. So get rid of all the stuff in your house that's bad.
Mhm.
If you don't have cook, and it's hard because you have other family members, but they have to be on board with you. So,
Right.
and I'm always, do you really want that Snickers bar? Hello, my husband who doesn't listen to me. But anyway, but
Yeah.
I have carrots, and I have guacamole, and I have the things that I make, and somebody put a recipe. This is now. I'm doing this now.
Hmm.
But these
Hmm.
tools were coming in place. So it was last year in January. I said, that's it. I'm up, down. I still can't, whatever. I gotta focus. And that's when I found I started acupuncture. And it was my acupuncturist who said to me, I think you have a fatty liver. Let's do this. And she put me on this program, detox program, just for the liver. So I was successful. I lost about 20 pounds with that. And I said, and I stopped. I became plateaued. I said, there's got to be more. There's got to
Mhm.
be more to this. And that's when I found online a
Mhm.
message thing,
Right.
so I said, you know what? N type, I'm seeing all over them, and this, use this, berberine. I was
Mhm.
taking what was it called? It was for weight loss. It was
Mhm. Ozempic?
no, it wasn't.
No.
No, I refused to take all that.
Oh,
It
it
was
wasn't any other
no, it
prescription
wasn't
drug.
that.
Okay.
It was something Golo. Oh, it was Golo.
Yeah.
I got Golo, and Golo had it had all these herbs and stuff that would help you
Mm-hmm.
curve your stuff. So I was a little successful with that. It was okay, but I
Hmm.
wasn't getting the root. I felt that there was more. Anyways, I was at this place, and I'm listening to all this stuff, and I finished my detox, so now I'm ready to move forward. I think the most profound thing that I took away from that actually is two that three that it can be cured or reversed, and that you can that weight loss is a weight gain, I should say, is not the cause, it's the symptom. And
Absolutely.
I'm thought I all these years I'm thought, oh, this is the cause, that right. So now
Right.
when I reverse that, and so now I'm like, okay, so something's going on, something's not right. And what was the third? Oh my God, I'm thinking so fast now. I just finished taking the shake, so I'm all over
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah. Right. Got the
That shake is
energy.
really good, by the way. The chocolate
Yeah.
shake, if I can have it
I've
more
got
times a
mine.
day, I would, let me
Got
tell you.
mine.
Right? But that takeaway, knowing that I could that's it, So what's wrong? What is the why? What is the why?
Hmm.
So I had just finishing up my detox with my acupuncturist, who's very into, but she knows about it. She's all on board. I wanted them to meet. I actually had a birthday party and I wanted them to meet, but it didn't come to fruition. I went to my endocrinologist. I changed endocrinologist because I said the one I was going to, she was a practitioner. Not that demeans her, but she wasn't thinking outside the box. I needed someone to think outside the box with me. That is not taught to manage your issue. They're not taught to go the next step to really find the why. And they're in
Right.
that zone of, okay, I'm going to give you this, you're going to stay this, you're going to, let's keep this in check. So I went to her and I literally said to her, I said, I need you, I'm changing to you.
Mhm.
And I said, I need you to think outside the box with me. I did a liver cleanse, and I came to her. My numbers, I was on that sensor, Libra 3 sensor that I was
Mhm.
wearing, which was really helpful because when I would
Mhm.
eat, I would see it's a good tool to
Right.
use.
Mhm.
But so I was using that, and I said I had just come off a week that was really bad, and my numbers, I was 50% in range, which is not really good. And my highest A1C is AC1 A1C is was 7.8. That's the highest, which is not. I mean, there are people who are up to 14. I have a friend of mine who's
Right.
14. I'm like, you got to get control of this, or else you're going to stay in the hospital.
Right. Yeah.
So I felt like in my mind, I said, okay, 7. I can get there. I can do this. So when I went to her, I was 7.1. I was there with her. And she's like, yeah, you're still out of range. And she's giving me this, she's not giving me a good vibe. And I said to her, listen, I need you to be on board because I'm doing this. I'm starting this. And I want you to know that I really, truly believe that I can get to where I have to be. And the first thing she says to me is, well, why don't you try Wegovy? This way you don't have to take any medicines and you don't have to take metformin
Mhm.
every day. It's one shot a week. And I said, did you hear what I just said? I said, I don't want to do that. And I literally said it like that. I said, I
Yeah.
don't want to do that. I said, I
Yeah.
want to reverse it.
Yeah.
And she goes, well, what makes you think, she said this to me, what makes you think you can reverse it now? You fell off the wagon so many times.
Oh
And I looked
no.
at her and I said, because I have the right tools and the right mindset, and I need the
Right.
right doctor to be on board with me. And that's what she said.
Right.
And she's like, okay, right, okay. And then I told her my brother he had this weird disease. It was very rare, pheochromocytoma, which is
Mm-hmm.
tumors in the adrenal gland. He passed away in 91. And
Mm-hmm.
because he had that, and I told her that was my history, she wanted
Mm-hmm.
to look at my thyroid, still thinking
Mm-hmm.
that she was going to put me on Wegovy. So she did
Right.
a scan of my thyroid. Didn't even think about, I never had it. I never thought I had an issue. And she
Yeah.
tells me I have cysts in my thyroid, and I have one that's pretty large, so she wants to do a biopsy. I'm like, oh, great, the cherry on the cake now, right?
Right.
So
Mm-hmm.
I said, okay, so schedule 2 weeks later. Meanwhile, I'm still doing my detox with my acupuncturist.
Mm-hmm.
Go back to her 2 weeks later. She goes in, she looks, she goes, oh, they're relative. I guess she doesn't remember me. She didn't remember the situation because she says to me, oh, they're relatively small. She said they're all small, not there was no big one anymore. So the detox was doing something, the first
Mm-hmm.
detox that I did. Meanwhile, I'm still watching this stuff. So I'm
Right.
like, you know what? I gotta do it. I gotta do it. I gotta take the step to move forward and
Mm-hmm.
just do it the right way and get it all done. I got this for my birthday from my friends because they knew I was on the water thing. Anyway, so 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 then okay, so now I start this plan and
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at all these supplements and I'm like, are you kidding me? I said, so I numbered the bottles. I have a system. I
Set
numbered the
yourself up
bottles,
for success. Yep.
what I'm supposed to do. And every day, my routine first walk my dog, give him his Prozac because he's a little neurotic. Do me, do my squirts, do this, then
Yeah.
take my pills. I'm started the detox, the deep detox now.
Uh-huh.
So I'm doing 14 pills, which is a
Uh-huh.
lot. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping that I haven't sent my second set of numbers yet, my tests yet. So I'm
Okay.
hoping that
Mm-hmm.
everything goes down. But I'll tell you, I have run into obstacles. And these are the things you have to remember, I think, when you have these obstacles. People die. I'm an emotional leader. Right now, I'm an
Yeah.
emotional choker. But anyway, um, excuse me.
You're
So
good.
last week and the week before, I had two deaths, and I had to go to funerals and them. And
Mm-hmm.
I, at one point, I was like, F it. I
Right.
got I have to do. I'm trying to be good, and I said, that's it. I'm going to be bad. I'm going to be bad. But I was a good bad. If you have to be bad, just try to be a good bad. I had a pizza. But
Mm-hmm.
I had a gluten-free pizza, light
Mm-hmm.
cheese, light sauce, and loaded with vegetables.
Mm-hmm.
Bad, I had a bottle of champagne. So I truly fell off.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's bad. But that's the only
Mm-hmm.
thing I had that day because I was
Right.
emotionally
What
upset.
matters is that
And
you
that
get
was
back
it.
up.
And I
Yeah.
didn't, right. And I didn't beat myself up. And
No.
I had to
Right.
do it, get it out of my
Right.
system, and
Moving
right back
on.
on. And
Right.
then, it's going to happen. And if
Yeah.
a lot of people are like, oh, I fell off, I can't do it.
Right. But
You can't,
no, we're humans. Yeah. Yeah.
you gotta go with the flow. And
Mm-hmm.
but I think if you know what the cause is and you
Mm-hmm.
know that it's okay, you
Yeah. And you
don't,
keep your why at the front.
look
Yeah.
at where you've come. I mean, I was successful. I haven't lost substantial weight, but
Mhm.
it's like things are shaping. Like my
Yeah.
husband goes, "Ooh, waist." I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
remember that?
Yeah.
So
And it's not
total
necessarily
from
the
the beginning.
scale, right? All those
Right.
other
So
wins, the way your face
right.
looks.
So
Yeah.
I rediscovered my closet.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I can look what I can fit into again. And then
Yeah.
my goal was to fit into my wedding dress again, and I'm just about there.
Ooh.
Um, and that was 23 years ago, so
Oh
that's
my
pretty good.
gosh.
But I lost the total from the beginning of my journey because I gave myself a year. I said, because I'm
Hmm.
looking at all these women who want to lose a lot of weight, like
Hmm.
80 pounds or more, and they give themselves a year, 2 years. You got to remember, Rome wasn't built in a day, and you didn't put this weight on in a second, right? It took
Right.
time. So
Hmm.
patience is a virtue. I'm still learning to, get.
Hmm.
And but in all my travels, I think I'm at a place, which is why I'm successful.
Hmm.
And that I'm using the tools that for me, because everybody's tools are different, whatever works for you and whatever, however you now my success rate, a pound, half a pound. I'm not looking
Hmm.
for, 8 pounds a week and drop it. And I can't do that because
Right.
this is your life. And I've really read into the organics, learning how to clean. It's great that my acupuncturist, who I see, she turns me on to things that are natural, and we go back
Hmm.
and forth. I've
Hmm.
also started a massage. For my birthday, somebody gave me a massage gift. I
Hmm.
started going to that. I feel euphoric that day, and that if all the days, I'm most successful that day with
Yeah.
eating myself. I mean, people go, "Oh,
Yeah.
all you eat is salad." I'm like, no, that's not all I eat. Hello,
Yeah.
but I'm eating right and so on. But I do have obstacles for me because I'm an entertainer. My time schedule to eat
Yeah.
is a little bit different.
Yeah. So it's
And
about how you prioritize, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
so I'm trying and I'm trying to do they upped it to 3 times a day taking all these pills. I've
Hmm.
only been able to do two comfortably because I'm
Hmm.
full of the, of the pills,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I'm not ready to take it. So I have to
Mhm.
work. I'm going to work that out with Omar, see what I can do. But
Yeah.
but I'm still on track. I'm still
Yeah.
feeling good. I'm still getting the compliments, and I'm telling people. A lot of people are like, oh well, I don't have diabetes, but will this work for me? I'm like, probably. I mean, if you
Yeah.
have other issues,
Right.
inflammation, and
Yeah.
it's going to work.
So, I know you mentioned Omar real quick. Let's talk about Omar real quick and kind of how he's impacted your journey and what he is to you as a coach, if you don't mind, just to touch on that.
Yeah, Omar is a nurse.
Hmm.
He's a nurse, which I think is really good because he knows
Yeah.
the intricacies of the body and stuff like that. And he
Yeah.
pops out information to me so often. He's prescribed
Mhm.
like extra stuff,
Right.
supplements for me. I've gotten them all, especially
Yeah.
I'm 60, so I'm going through menopause. Yay.
Yeah.
Listen, wait till it comes. They don't tell you things, so learn now. But, he put me on this thing, Feminescence, which was is supposed to
Yeah.
be helping. It takes time to kick in, so I'm still waiting. Yeah,
Hmm.
my husband's like, and when? So I'm like, it's coming. Don't worry. No, but so he put me on that. He put my birth rate. So he's informative, very informative. Is
Hmm.
that another problem I had, which and he told me is water intake, my
Hmm.
water intake. Um,
Hmm. It's
I am
important.
struggling with that. And
Yeah.
it's not that I don't like the water, but I'm not thirsty. And
Hmm.
I try to eat things that make me thirsty. Maybe
Hmm.
I put salt on something, or sometimes there's something I don't know, whatever it is. I try to stimulate me, like, okay, I got to drink this because, and I'm
Yeah.
like, that's the biggest problem. And I'm
Hmm.
really, all my things are giant size, and somebody bought me like a tub. He's like, here, drink this, and I'm like, is it safe? Is it plastic? Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
I've been doing that. That's another thing. It's almost like um, they want you to completely be free of toxins, but there are some
Hmm.
things you just don't have control over. I live in
Hmm.
a condominium community where we have DEP coming out to test the waters all the time. And I'm actually in the market to find something that's going to filter my house water to prevent that from, because they said there was mild contamination because there used to be a paint company next to us. So they said, oh, but it would be like 70 years till it affects you. I'm like, that
I'm
doesn't
not
make
taking a
sense.
chance. Right. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
exactly. I'm like, what is this, an Aaron Brockovich thing? It's not gonna happen. So, and I sit on the board. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, this is not, no.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm looking into doing something like that for my household. I have to find out where I can install it and so on.
Hmm.
But there's all little things that you can do, like
Right.
minimize, do less. I was actually thinking of just
Hmm.
letting my hair go gray. I don't know. Gray is the
Yeah.
new in, right? My
Hmm.
my my hairdresser goes to me, "You're 40% gray." I'm like, well, I guess I can't come see you anymore because
Yeah. Right.
I gotta
Right.
get
I
healthy.
mean, yeah. I
My
mean, we
mother
come
had
into,
Alzheimer's,
yeah. We come into
but I think she had Alzheimer's.
700,000. Go ahead.
But no, I was gonna say, I think my mother had Alzheimer's because she used to dye her hair in
Toxins.
the back in the day
Toxins.
with red. She used to do red, and that had the aluminums, and then the aluminums sink into
Yeah.
the and they clog up the synapses, and I truly believe that that was her issue. And
Absolutely.
we'll never know. I mean, she's since passed, but it was
Yeah.
just so, and then that's another fear I have. Am I going to get out? I think she got it early. She was 52 when she started showing signs. So
Mm.
I'm in my 60s, and I think I'm pretty alert. But I do a lot of things that stress is a killer.
Hmm.
If I can
Hmm.
give any advice, you've got to do something that's going to keep you balanced.
Hmm.
Balance. Do something for yourself. Even if you're
Right.
alone in the bathroom and you just, I like lighting incense. I like candles. I like making my
Hmm.
surroundings as peaceful as possible because when I'm doing gigs, I have to be high energy and I have to get everybody up doing,
Yeah.
whatever they got to do. And then I have to, take a break
Right.
from that. But for
It's
me, it's been the
important.
discipline of really putting myself first and knowing
Absolutely.
I want to be a centenarian.
Yeah.
I
That
want
is an amazing goal. Yes.
I want to be a centenarian. I have two in my family that my grandmother lived to 103 and my great aunt lived to 106, and they were both on opposite sides of the family. So I have a
Wow.
win-win, but then I have my brother who died at 39. That was a freak thing,
Yeah.
and then my mother got whatever. But it was
Yeah.
just like I think that with that incentive, and another great thing, Omar's turned me on to I think it was Omar. He turned me on to Yuka, the
Uh-huh.
app Yuka, to
Yeah.
scan
Great app.
and tell me what. So I changed my hair shampoo to this great thing, Native, and
Awesome.
and I actually am able to give when I'm on the chat room, and somebody
Mm-hmm.
asked about what kind of stevia. They all have additives, and I said, well, this one
Mm-hmm.
doesn't. I looked and
Mm-hmm.
I carry it with me. I do my own coffees if I want it,
Yeah.
but I don't drink. Now I haven't even been drinking coffee. It's
Me
like
neither.
maybe I'll sneak one in. I'll be bad, but
Yeah.
like I do it like that. It's not
Right.
like the vats that they get. I'm not doing
Uh-huh.
that.
Yeah.
And that's only because of my lifestyle. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
taking more iron and this and that. I'm actually going in for my annual mammogram, and I have a internal cyst in my uterus that I've had forever, fibroid. And I want to see if it shrunk. I'm going to see if it shrunk with all this
Mm-hmm.
going on. I'll find out. And if it did, I'll
Mm-hmm.
call you back and I go, it's gone. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It was pretty big. Yeah, it was distending me back in the day. It was distending me to look like I was 5 months pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
And I refused to
Mm-hmm.
get surgery because I didn't want to traumatize my body. They kept
Right.
telling me, no, you can go into menopause, it's going to shrink, and which it did. And but it's not
Mm-hmm.
uncomfortable. I mean, it's in there, or whatever. And I said, why am I putting myself through this unnecessary trauma, which is going to result in
Mm-hmm.
other stuff and other things, So that was back
Mm-hmm.
then. But now I feel great. I mean, I really feel very good.
That's
I mean, I
amazing.
have to say,
Yes.
I have to say, you do realize I used to get up and my hands would crunch, like
Mm-hmm.
from the
Mm-hmm.
inflammation. I couldn't. I knew I couldn't eat. And I was like I must have been a rat in my last life because I used to
Mm-hmm.
love cheese. And
Yeah.
so mozzarella, I can't have mozzarella because I'll
Mm-hmm.
know if there was somebody says, "Oh no, there's no cheese in it." Lie, I know that there's
Right.
something in it. My hands, that's gone. My knee,
Amazing.
I had knee surgery before all this,
Yeah.
and they wanted to do my other knee, but my other knee is feeling better. So I said no.
Oh,
Thank you.
I love
So
it.
right, so I'm
Huge
good with
wins
that.
right there. Yeah.
It's the little things, but you have to look back when you feel like you're gonna fall off, or you go to a birthday party and someone have a sliver. Literally, if you're gonna cheat, have a sliver, not a piece of cake. Have a little something, just so it satiates that whatever it is. That's a little sliver, and then move for, or have nothing if you can,
Right.
if your willpower is good, have nothing.
Yeah.
Um, but don't beat yourself up over it. It's not. Look back at all the progress you made and rest into that so that you can go forward and
Absolutely. Yeah.
and be successful.
Absolutely.
I have to
Um,
say that I feel much more confident than all my other, and I've been on a lot of different
mhm.
products and supplements
Uh-huh.
and stuff. That this one is not only is it the most interactive because I can reach out to Omar
Yeah.
and you guys or whatever. You're
Yeah.
there. I'm getting the supplements. It's explained to me. He's thorough. I throw back at him some stuff and that I'm having an issue with. Sometimes
Mhm.
sometimes I think I feel embarrassed him because
Mhm.
sometimes I talk about woman stuff, but
Yeah.
he's got he's with his
Yeah.
he's a nurse. You can get so
Yeah.
it's but otherwise I feel pretty good, and I'm hoping that
Mhm.
my husband, he's like, okay, if you're successful, then I'll jump in on it too. But it's hard. He's really really set in his ways,
Mhm.
and he's like, yeah, yeah. He'll try and eat right in front of me, but he sneaks. He's a sneaky eater, and I'm
Right.
telling him it's okay to sneak. All right, you can
Yeah.
tell me. Let me just
Yeah.
help you sneak the right foods.
Right. They're just so
But
quick.
he's stuck in that old school. He's also 10 years older than me, so he's stuck in that
Yeah.
old school. I'm trying, and believe me, when he eats my stuff, he's eating well. But when he's out
Uh-huh.
there, I have no control. He's
Hmm.
under the influence, and it's hard. He's Italian, So
Yeah.
that, it's hard to break that he wants his pasta on Sunday. I'm like, it's not happening. It's not
Right.
unless we
Right.
make it ourselves.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I really like some of the points that you brought up. I mean, it's true. Like we come into contact with 700,000 toxins a day, that we cannot avoid every single thing. Our world is just past that point, but it's the little steps that we take for ourselves every day that matters, and just doing what you can is going to make a positive difference. We don't have to be perfect. I love that you have had these wins and you have stuck with it and
I,
put yourself
I
first.
didn't tell you the big win. I'm
Yes, I
not
would love
diabetic
to. I would love to
anymore.
know all of them. Oh my
I'm
gosh.
5.6 is my sugar.
Okay. That's
I'm not even
amazing.
pre-diabetic. I am
No
not
longer a
diabetic. I
diabetic.
am not on metformin. I don't have the thing. I'm done with that. I'm
That is
done.
so
I mean, that
amazing.
was my goal. And I did that in about a month and a half. But
That
this
is
goes, I'm
just,
now into, yeah, the last test I had, it came back 5.6. I was like, what? I was,
there you go.
I wanted to have a pizza then, but I didn't. No, no,
Yes. Well, there
no.
you go. I mean, from
That so,
diabetic to non-diabetic, just
and
like you told your doctor you
I'm
would.
still going.
Still
I
on the
got children.
journey.
I think he only, because I was already halfway in, I think he only put me on for 4 months.
Hmm.
So I'm coming up my last, I think the end of October, the beginning of November is going to be my
Hmm.
my done time.
Graduation. Uh-huh.
I'm hoping to drop another maybe 10. I pray, but
Yeah.
it's, if I don't, I know I feel good and I'm doing the
Hmm.
right things. I know that when I talk and I to people and they see they want to know, and I try to get them to just listen to the master class. He's going to say everything
Right.
you want. You
Right.
don't have to be on medicine. I have a friend of
Mhm.
mine, and I'm very worried about. He's my singing partner, and he was in the, he told me he was in the hospital. He was recently diagnosed with diabetes. I always thought he had diabetes, just the way he would eat, pass out, he's got all everything. And he was diagnosed, and his numbers were 14
Mm.
A1C. Not
Mm.
A1C, yeah, 14
Yeah. Yeah.
A1C.
That's
And I
right.
was like, that's, you are the person I've people 11, 10,
Yeah.
14. That's,
Yeah.
you're asking, the next question is, what color coffin do you want? It's like,
Yeah.
I told them, I said, you need to stop. You need to, if you're going to look at what the sugars are, look at the low glycemic numbers are for the foods that you eat. You have to do the research. You can't
Right.
just like,
You have to
I'm
be
gonna
your own advocate. Yeah. You have to. Yeah.
your own advocate, learn. Knowledge is freedom. Knowledge is
Yep.
success.
Yep.
Tools, put whatever tools you need in place.
Hmm.
Heed the Find the why, you know,
Hmm.
and just know that don't be it's a time. It's gonna take time.
Hmm.
But for me, like I was already on my way. So just
Hmm.
this is what I needed, that extra to do it. I'm on a
Right.
plateau now, and I think that's because I had the emotional stuff. So I'm
Hmm.
trying to get back down. So I think I'm gonna see success within the next 2 weeks, a little more. So, and I'm gonna feel it, I pray to God nobody else does. But that's all, and that's funny. That now I'm thinking about it. The last times that I was doing these diets, whatever I decided to do, right when I was 20 pounds or I was 10 pounds, whatever it was, and I was doing well, something like a tragedy, a death or
Yeah.
something would happen.
There
And
you
I would
go.
go off and I would never get back on and I would gain back
Right.
the weight. It was
Right.
always the death. And this is the first time I had double death and I'm okay and I'm not going back. So I know my mindset is there. I can't wait to see
Yeah.
my endocrinologist and fire her. I really am like, listen, it's been good. Thank you. I'll
Gonna
come
be an
back in like 3
amazing appointment.
months.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
don't
I
need
got
you,
I
girl. I'm not diabetic.
right.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'll come, just to check out every so often,
Right.
but as long as my numbers are good, I'm
Yeah.
phew. That's it's such a weight off my chest to know that when I was reading about diabetes and a blurbage said if you don't get control of it within the first 10 years, you're going to be on medication for the rest of your life.
Mhm.
And then the key word there was control. And then I hear cure. So I don't have to control it. I
Yeah.
can cure it or I can
Yeah.
reverse it. And just obviously I'm susceptible to it and I know
Right.
what's going to cause it going forward. So
Yeah,
I'm doing due diligence to stay focused on that, but it's just kind of like,
absolutely.
those are the only things I can said to people. Don't Rome wasn't built. That's my favorite line. Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither were you. So,
Right, right. You didn't,
yeah.
get here overnight. And wow, I mean, sure, quick for you to be non-diabetic. So that was very quick,
Seriously,
but it does take
seriously.
time. It takes time. It's a never, our health journeys are never ending, really. If you're always going to want to be either improving your health, you don't want to be stagnant with it. If you're either improving or it's getting worse,
Right,
So
right,
yeah,
right, right.
so I'm so proud of you. That's
Thank
so
you.
amazing. I'm so glad for all the work that you have put in, and you are the proof is in the pudding right there that get your mindset right, get the tools, stick with it,
There's,
do what
there's,
your coach is telling you to do, and you're
yeah,
gonna have
yeah,
the success. Our bodies want to heal, right? They just need to be
yeah,
in
yeah,
the proper
yeah.
environment, the right.
The coaches will definitely guide you
Yeah.
with the questions that you might have, or the bumps and the obstacles that you come along the way, because
Yeah.
everybody's got their own obstacle.
Right.
That's what Omar is coming real handy like that, to say,
Mhm.
well, this is why this is happening. So let's try
Right.
this and do that. You
Right.
want to know,
Pivot.
oh, okay. So I gotta, I'm low on iron. Okay, let's get in there. And
Mhm.
all those tests and stuff,
Yeah.
that like, almost 30 pages of information that you get.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Very thorough.
I
Well,
have
that
I had
is.
styrofoam in my blood. That was
Oh
disgusting.
my gosh. Yeah, isn't
From
that?
1980s. You weren't alive in the 80s, were you? No, you
No.
too young. Okay, yeah. So I used to drink hot chocolate from styrofoams when I used to go ice
Oh
skating
yeah.
as a, and I'm like, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Right.
So
Yeah, well, yeah,
anyway, I went
definitely
over time,
knowledge
right?
is
Sorry.
power. Oh, you're fine. Yes, thank you so much for your time and your story. I really appreciate it more than you know. You're a rock star, and I'm sure that this will impact
A
others
musician likes to hear that. I'm a rock star.
and encourage them, to attend a master class and arm themselves with information like you have. So again, I'm so proud of you. Kudos to you, and thank you for
Thank you.
sharing
Thank you.
your journey with us.
Okay, sounds good.
All
You're
right.
welcome.
Thank you. Talk
Okay.
to you later. Bye
Okay,
bye.
take care. Bye.